Phillips will take the corner from the Leeds left. It's their second corner of the game. It's swung in very deep, headed away by Sokratis. Alioski will clear it over on the far touchline, try and bring it under control, and he's done so brilliantly. A great pirouette. Kolasinac was in the way, and Arsenal now will be able to bring it away with Nelson. The danger, he might lose possession. He has done. Bamford gets a shot in which was blocked at source, and then Xhaka slides in and catches Patrick Bamford, and that'll be a yellow, not a yellow card, that'll be a free kick, level with the edge of the penalty area, only about a yard and a half to the left-hand side of the box. And Xhaka's yellow card has been in the post for a while. He still hasn't had it yet, but for persistent infringement alone, he can't be too far away.
Jim, he should have got booked for the first one, pulling a player back. He should have got booked for the second one, pulling a player back, and now he's booked someone down on the edge of his own box. And how he's not had a yellow already is quite incredible. I wish I had these lenient referees when I played.
Yeah, you did, I promise you. I saw you play and what you got away with. 19 gone, 0-0. But Arsenal on the ropes at the moment. There are three in an Arsenal wall. Lacazette on the right-hand side of the trio. Phillips, again, swinging it in, just hoping for a near-post flick. Martinez got in the way, not much more than that. Rob Holding, very quick to react, heads it behind for another corner.
I think White's got a touch on that as he's whipped straight across the eye line of the goalkeeper. Yes, he has. And the goalie's done well to get his body in the way of it. Even they couldn't hold it.
Three corners without reply. Phillips with his latest one. Left-footed shot comes in from Alioski. Martinez, good goalkeeping, raced out, took a little deflection, and then he's got it forward as quickly as he can, trying to get Arsenal out. And in doing so, he's whacked it 40 yards past the most advanced gunner, and it's gone straight through for Meslier, and Leeds will be able to build from the back again. Almost midway through the first half. Alioski going up for the ball on the left-hand touchline. Pepe is there. Pepe's won it back and will calm things down. Sokratis to Pepe to Guendouzi. And back from Sokratis again to Nicolas Pepe. And he's played it forward off Douglas, who's a member of that Wolves team that got promoted a couple of years ago. And it goes out of play for an Arsenal throw, and they're just grateful to be able to take the sting out of the game. They've got a throw, they can just have a little breather for 5 or 6 seconds.
Well, what Arsenal need is a passage of play when they keep possession, because at this moment in time, you know, we're in to the 17th minute of the game, and it's all been Leeds, and I'm not overstating that.
Pepe flicked out of play. Off a Leeds player for another Arsenal throw on halfway. Leeds' last win over Arsenal in any competition was in 2000.
Well, a very good evening to you.
shooting opportunity. The only downside you can say for Leeds' performance, they've not hit the back of the net yet. Yeah, and sometimes that is very worrying when you've had this much dominance in a game.
Xhaka, again put under pressure by Leeds press. Whenever they play the ball into him, particularly if he's got his back to the direction of play, Click is in there immediately, trying to hound an error out of him. Calvin Phillips has got it for Leeds. The Leeds-born midfielder, veteran already of nearly 170 games for the club. It means so much to him on a personal basis as well as a professional. Only 3 of those 11 on target, but there have been a couple of near misses, most notably Bamford's effort that hit the crossbar. White, out to Ayling.
Tells you the whole story, doesn't it, really? I mean, the stats do literally, sometimes they don't tell you the whole story. Those stats tell you exactly what we're seeing in front of our eyes. A very, very dominant Leeds performance, tactically, absolutely sound. Man for man, spring the press, and from there, counter-attack the opposition. Fantastic.
You're with TalkSport. It's 0-0, but it's hugely entertaining and very intriguing. Douglas laying the ball through the midfield for Gotts, who sat on the Leeds United bench 30 times without ever being called on for his debut, but he's seized the opportunity tonight so far with both hands. Very efficient job in the engine room for the...
Look, however, a ball's just gone out for a throw-in and everyone's latched onto somebody. If you look on the pitch now in training exercises, sometimes if you want a physical encounter in training, you say, right, here's your man, you can only tackle him. That's exactly what Leeds have done, basically. Go man for man, there's your man, get on with it out of possession.
Lacazette's just been fouled by Gotts, and it's a free kick which Arsenal will take, about 10 yards inside the Leeds half. Pepe out towards the right-hand side. Lacazette's making his way forward towards the edge of the D. Nelson in an advanced position on the left. And Xhaka's made his way forward now as well. Worked in by David Luiz. Into the feet of the retreating Lacazette. Back for the Brazilian, who packs a punch from distance. A shot which has taken a deflection. Spins wide of Meslier's right-hand post to give Arsenal their first corner of the night.
What this does, the way Leeds are playing, it gives the fullbacks the opportunity to squeeze out and say, listen, I'm offering no cover. You're 2 for 1 with Lacazette in the middle of the pitch. The 2 fullbacks have gone out wide and said, listen, Pepe, every time you get the ball, I'm going to be in your shorts, so you ain't going to get a run at me. And that is so much easier to defend wingers.
David Luiz wide. Corner came in and he had a run at it. That's probably the most significant error that Leeds have made so far. Nobody picking up the Brazilian attack in the set piece, and he should have done better, should have scored.
Yeah, just got blocked there. He's made an attempt to stay with him, but he's just got blocked off from a defensive issue there. I think it was Phillips.
Calvin Phillips ending up the wrong side. His presence may be just enough to put David Luiz off, but nevertheless, he should have hit the target. He gets that inside the post, and it is 1-0 to Arsenal. And you'd have to say, against the run of play, it would have been. 31 gone, Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. Calvin Phillips laying it back to his goalkeeper, Ilham Meslier. Now out towards Luke Ayling. Right-footed ball forward from him into the feet of Harrison in the midfield. He's still inside Arsenal territory. Played down towards the left-hand touchline for Douglas. Douglas working it forward, a neat and tidy ball into Gotts, who takes a touch and then goes back for Berardi. And Berardi out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area via his goalkeeper for Ben White to bring it forward here.
See, that can't be right, Jim, what we've just seen. You know, Leeds have played the ball out from the back. Ben White's picked the ball up and just driven past Nelson and just, you know, belittled him in some ways in his press. And I think they've had their hearts broken, Arsenal, in these early stages.
Trying to get out again. are the men in red and white. Laid back by Xhaka for David Luiz. Arsenal, of course, the better record than anybody else in this competition. They've won it 13 times, including 6 this century. And have won each of their last 6 FA Cup finals. They've played in 20. It's a wonderful record. But at the moment, they're being bossed by Leeds tonight. The side have reached 4 finals all in an 8-year period and back under Don Revie. Alioski trying to work it forward. Knocked away by Pepe with a little trick. But loose ball just ricochets through for Ben White. White out towards Ayling. And Ayling to Harrison. Harrison coming in off the right flank for Leeds United in their shirts that are a mix of sky blue and grey. High ball inside the box. Alioski, what a save! That is a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. Martinez diving to his right-hand side. Alioski caught as he flew towards goal with a flying header. And that's just produced a top-draw save from Emi Martinez to keep it at 0-0.
Well, it was Socrates at the far post, didn't realise Alioski was coming in the back post, and Alioski rose brilliantly, got himself injured in the process, but a wonderful save by Martinez to keep Arsenal in the game. And it's almost, I tell you what, Jim, as a coach watching this, you know it's a masterclass by the manager that he's put on. The way he sets his team up, the way his team are just going man for man, out of possession. If you go and make an attempt at winning the first ball and it bounces off, can you go and chase the ball, put pressure on it? They're playing out from the back. It's a masterclass from Leeds. It really is.
So what do Arsenal need to do differently in the third that they haven't been able to do in 34 minutes so far? How do they get a grip and a foothold in this game?
Well, for a start, they've had their hearts broken when they have attempted to press. The longer the game's gone on, the front 4 are half-hearted at their pressing now. They've been played through, they've been played round. It's absolutely broke their hearts, and they've reverted to type, if you like, before Arteta. You know, this high-pressing, high-energy Arsenal team that I've heard has turned the corner with Arteta. They've almost resorted to type in many ways, so they're going to have to. Ozil's turning round now and saying, look, when I go and press, make sure you get in behind me, because they're playing passes behind me. So he wants the back line and the midfield to push up and support him, but if he presses with that intensity, he's never going to get close to anybody.
Leeds have it. And it's worked out towards the right-hand touchline again, which has been a profitable avenue so far for the Yorkshireman. Harrison riding the challenge. Onto his left foot, cleverly disguised reverse ball. Flag stays down. It could be a tap in here. No, it's Guendouzi who's just back there. Gets in the way. And he's able to get it out of harm's way very quickly for Arsenal. Lacazette is then caught on the edge of the centre circle. Fair challenge by Ben White, with referee Taylor in a good position, and Alioski will put it out of play so that Lacazette can receive treatment. But Leeds almost literally walking through that Arsenal back line.
Well, they did. They were probably guilty on that occasion in the opposition's box of overplaying, if anything, you know. And it's Lacazette who's gone down now. It's Ben White. Great defending, I've got to say, literally touch tight. Every time an Arsenal player's received the ball with his back to play, there's been a defender touch tight on him. And I think Lacazette, more so than his leg being hurt, I think his pride is.
You're seeing a replay of that earlier passing move inside the penalty area. It may well not have counted. I think Rob Holding had just got forward enough to play Leeds offside. It was a close run thing, and certainly the assistant referee on the far touchline, Adam Nunn, did the right thing in keeping his flag down with a call that would have been as marginal as that and could have been sorted out by the VAR. 36 minutes of race by, and here on TalkSport it remains. Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. In the third round of the FA Cup, it's live on TalkSport with the Fiat Professional range of vans. A true professional always goes the extra mile. Search Fiat Pro 555. Terms and conditions apply. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce talking through the action from the Emirates. Hugely entertaining, but nail-biting stuff if you're an Arsenal fan on the strength of what we've seen so far. 0-0.
You asked me as well, what could Arsenal do to change it? They could probably take a leaf out of Leeds' book and say, when Leeds have got the ball, we're going man for man on them. And that would stop, you hope, Leeds playing through their press.
Harrison heads it forward. Bamford's done well to bring it down. Played by Gotts out of the left-hand side for the bleach blonde Alioski. His ball inside the area, knocked away by David Luiz. Right-footed effort from Ayling inside the box is cleared. Would have been a collector's item, a man who's only scored 10 goals in more than 400 games in his career, but his shot was blocked, and Leeds are able to bring it away at the back, and then White gets the verdict. He was fouled by Lacazette, but I think he thought that Lacazette was going to be able to get past him. He didn't know the whistle was going to go, and if the first one hadn't been a foul, the second one from White back on Lacazette certainly would have been, but the referee stopped play for the first offence, and it's a free kick to Leeds. Here's Berardi. High left-footed ball forward from him. It's brought down beautifully by Alioski, but he was offside. And it's a free kick to Arsenal.
There's been a couple of gypsy warnings at the back here at the moment for Leeds. You know, they've overplayed, and it's been White who's been caught twice, once flagged and once not for a free kick. Just got to be careful. That is the only downside of what I'm seeing from Leeds at this moment in time.
Nelson beaten to it by White over on the far touchline. He's put it out of play for a throw. Leeds away record this season, 15 played. They've won 9 of them, only beaten in London this season away from home. They've lost at Charlton, at Millwall, and most recently at Fulham. But they've won 60% of their away games, which is an outstanding return, and 4 of the last 5 as well. Arsenal, the flip side of that, beaten here 4 times in all competitions already this season, all in the last 5 games. Leeds on the front foot again. Alioski chasing. Socrates knew where he was. As the cross came in from the right flank, he was just able to scoop his right foot underneath it and get it over Alioski and out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Leeds left-hand side. But the North Macedonian internationals had a fine game. Alioski on that left wing has caused all kinds of problems for Arsenal. It's a throw which will be taken on the Leeds United left. 6 to go to half-time. 0-0. Douglas into the feet of Alioski again. Back it goes for Calvin Phillips. Phillips working it through the midfield. Ben White steps up, 1 foot either side of the halfway line as he controlled the ball. Works it into the feet of Ayling. Ayling to Bamford. Back from Ayling out to Click on the right-hand side. Gets to the byline. Low ball in towards the near post, and Gotts, who'd made an excellent run, leant back and scooped it well over the bar.
Wow, I've covered solely the Premier League this year for TalkSport, Jim, and this is one of the best performances I've seen from any team, I think. It's so complete, from a tactical line-up of the team, from how you can definitively see what they've been told to do in their man-to-man scenario, passing out from the back, passing through the thirds, going over the top when need be. It's been an absolute masterclass from Leeds.
And also worth stressing that it is a Leeds side that are without 4 regular starters today. Ball played by Alioski forward, just behind Bamford, and Holding will get it away. No Liam Cooper at the back. Helder Costa has played in nearly every game up to this point. And Stuart Dallas similarly has started every league game, but he's been left on the bench this evening. So it is a mix and match side that Bielsa's fielded, but they've been brilliant. And they are again. Goalkeeper's come out and committed himself. He's pulled back towards Bamford by Click, but it had just rolled over the line and out of play for a goal kick. In fact, I think the offside flag is shown against Click to stop that latest move. But it was a clever ball play down the inside left channel, and the goalkeeper came out and felt that he had to try and make some kind of contact. Did very well to be able to withdraw his arms and not make contact with Click. And the flag has come to Arsenal's rescue on this occasion. 41 gone, Arsenal 0, Leeds 0. The only thing that will frustrate Bielsa is that they're not 2 or 3 up.
Well, exactly that. I mean, the whole performance has been an absolute masterclass to look at. On that occasion, there's no grey areas if you're a Leeds player. You know exactly who you've got to mark. You know how tight you've got to get to mark them, and from there, sort of, that you spring an attack.
Phillips with the ball forward, and Bamford's offside. Our reporter tonight is Ian Abrahams-Moose. A very good evening to you. You've got a slightly better view than I have of the technical areas. What's Mikel Arteta made of this?
Oh, he is frustrated. I wouldn't want to be an Arsenal player at half-time. He's kicking every ball, Jim. He's appealing for every offside. He wants his team to press high. On the other side, Bielsa, when he's not on his bucket, is crouching right down. 2 very different animals on the touchline, these 2 managers.
Thank you, Moose. Here's Ozil in possession for Arsenal. And that's been something of a rarity. Played forward towards Pepe. Good use of the ball from the former German international. Nelson, Xhaka, good run over the top from Kolasinac. The ball will try and find him, but just overhit. He made the run in behind Harrison, who tracked back with him, but he needed the pass to be inch perfect. Difficult one to play, and the camber of the pitch did him no favours there either. Goal kick to Leeds.
Just looking at the interaction there between Phillips and Douglas, you know, the central midfield player and the left back. Douglas has gone touch tight on Pepe and followed him into midfield. Ozil's run into the space, but Douglas can go all the way because he knows that Phillips is going to track his man into that open space. Gives you great confidence as a fullback.
Berardi finding Douglas. Great first touch, just rolled into his path. He then hits it forward for Alioski. Martinez forced to come outside the penalty area, will clear. And it'll come down on the left-hand touchline where Douglas is battling with Pepe. Loose ball falls to the feet of Ozil. Socrates then caught by Calvin Phillips. Free kick right in front of Mikel Arteta, and Socrates has stayed down injured.
Yeah, I think once again he's been caught there, Socrates, but it's once again Leeds snapping into challenges. They're not respecting who they're playing in any way, shape or form.
Free kick to be taken by Arsenal. Couple of minutes to go to half time. 2 or 3 I would imagine to be added. Holding. Good to see him back after the injury problems that he's had. Just takes this free kick. It's work back to his goalkeeper, and Bamford, as always, tireless in chasing everything. Then as Arsenal work it forward, the flag is up, and it's a free kick that Leeds will take only 7 or 8 yards inside their own half. Relegated from the Premier League back in 2004. This their 15th season down, and the big advantage they in West Brom have over the field with 20 games left. You think back to last season, they've actually got almost exactly the same record as they had at this stage last year. This year, 15 wins, 7 draws at this stage. Last year, it was 15 wins and 8 draws. But the worrying part from Leeds last season was they lost 8 of the last 20 and ended up finishing some way adrift of the top 2. On the strength of what we've seen tonight, you would imagine they will be able to get the job done, and promotion will be forthcoming. They'll fancy their chances tonight on the strength of what we've seen as well. Douglas and Phillips beautifully playing out from the back. Gotts now to Alioski, and he's offside again. Close call.
Yeah, I would say the downside of Leeds is they've just been guilty of real clinical cutting edge in front of goal. They've overplayed on occasion, not get the shot away on occasion. But apart from that, the set-up play, the pressing's been beautiful to watch.
Pepe. Oh, he's done well to wriggle his way clear, and there's no way Phillips was going to let him get past. Pepe ends up on the deck. Alioski leans over him by way of apology, and it's a free kick to Arsenal on halfway as we go into stoppage time at the end of the first half, and there's just 1 additional minute. Arsenal might be quite relieved by that, and Mikel Arteta will be just having that team talk going round his head at the moment. They will have plenty to say. Holding, working it forward for Mesut Ozil. Back for Holding again. Holding under pressure from Bamford, who's come closer than anybody to scoring. Laying it back for David Luiz. High ball forward from him. Chested down by Pepe. Out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Leeds United left.
See, quite often what you get when you play against teams from the lower league than you expect them to sit off you. You expect them to respect you a little bit more. And Leeds have done anything but all of those things, and Arsenal are finding it very difficult to play against.
Holding. Finding
a small margin.
196 for 5 England were when just Butler was out. 5 and a bit overs to go. 5.1 overs to go. 46 to win, England. And this is the heavy scoring, 8 and over bashing, world record holding England batting lineup. And yet, that 46 looked like it was a million miles away.
Yeah, and when you look at it at half time, you're thinking 240 chasing that. England do well to get within 20 here because the pitch was of that substandard. But it just shows, how good an innings it was by not losing his concentration, tempo, and his mind when Josh Butler got out. Just there's a testament to how not only how well Ben played during that innings, but also how well Ben's played since. As an international cricketer, talk about growing since Bristol. Since that episode at Bristol, all of a sudden he's come back as a not rejuvenated character. We all knew what sort of player he could be and what he was. And I think he probably went into Bristol as a boy, and after Bristol, and what we get now is a very much a man and a man of an international stakes.
So you're going for the World Cup final. Goffey, I see you're shaking your head.
No, I'm 100% World Cup final. To me personally, I think special moments are mainly done in Ashes series, 100%. But I think what we've got to understand is when Ben Stokes is going to be at the crease, and more special moments that happen with England over probably the next 5-6 years, Ben Stokes is probably going to be involved, whether it be bat, ball, or in the field. He takes some unbelievable catches. When he bowls, he breaks partnerships, and when he bats, he's just magnificent to watch. But that World Cup for me, and I said it at the start of the interview, the importance of a World Cup final, England #1 team in the world, it's all been about the success of Strauss and Bayliss was all down to that one game. Runners up in that World Cup, it's been a failure. They had to win it, and they're in a position when it could have gone either way. And if you could want one person to be at the wicket when England are going, is it going to go the one way or the other? It's Ben Stokes. And it was an unbelievable innings. Yes, he had some luck towards the end of it, being dropped on the boundary or walked over the boundary, and that hitting his bat and flying away for runs towards the boundary. But he was just so calm, and never once did he believe he could take England over the line. And then he ran off the field and came straight back out for the Soupy over and smashed it in that. Unbelievable.
There's the 6, I think. I can't remember how many deliveries there were to go, but he got down on one knee, didn't he, and swept the 6 runs off the overthrow. You're saying that would have made England win without the super over.
But he would have had 2. He wouldn't have had. He would have been. It would have been 2 instead of 4. It would have been 2 instead of 4, and he would have needed. What would they need? 7 to win or 6 to win off the last 2 balls. Ben Stokes is then still in 6 hitting mode. He changed from 6 hitting mode to then thinking, right, 2 singles continues this game, and I think that was the safe bet. It was a safe option. The way Stokes is, and we've seen him in his innings, is so from there since then. When he gets into 6 hitting mode, he needs 2 singles to keep the game going. For me, if he needs another 6, I think in one of them 2 balls he would have hit a 6, and that would have been game over.
Shocked that you guys are picking the World Cup when basically what he did in that Test match has only been done twice before. We've never had a 9th wicket partnership anywhere near the size of that.
We've only ever won the World Cup once, Jared.
Yeah, but Australia wins it all the time, Harmy. They're chasing 240 on a bit of a gloomy day. It's not a 4th day minefield against Pat Cummins reverse hooking him over your head.
It was worse than the
9th wicket partnership anywhere near the size of that.
We've only ever won the World Cup once, Jared.
Yeah, but Australia wins it all the time, Harmy. They're chasing 240 on a bit of a gloomy day. It's not a fourth day minefield against Pat Cummins reverse hooking him over your head.
It was worse than the fourth day pitch here. I'll give you the tip. It was an absolute stinker. So 359 then. Okay, England chasing 359. They're 3 for 141 when Ben Stokes walks to the crease. Overnight, Ben Stokes was 2 not out of 73 deliveries, and England are 156 for 3 overnight. And you're still thinking Cummins, who was playing Mitchell Stark, that bowling
Hazelwood
attack
took 9 wickets.
Hazelwood,
and Nathan Lyon's not too bad.
And Nathan Lyon on a last day pitch. There's no way England are winning the game from there.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Yes, you are.
I'm saying it's a harder innings. It was a better innings in that Test match because of everything that was against him than was in the World Cup.
The TalkSport 2 team there discussing Ben Stokes and beyond at lunchtime on day 4 of the second test in Cape Town. South Africa will resume on day 5, 126 for 2. They need a further 312 runs for victory. Our exclusive coverage gets underway at 8 a.m. here on TalkSport 2. And with England in a commanding position at tea time on day 4, the TalkSport 2 team discussed Gareth Batty's latest milestone, and they were joined by the former England international Kevin Peterson, who couldn't quite remember all the details of some of his biggest knocks.
If this had been a 4-day test match, it might have been played slightly differently over the course of the first 3 days, and therefore we might not be in quite the situation that we are in now. But it seems highly likely that it would have ended in a very disappointing draw, whereas we sit here now highly anticipating what could be an extremely dramatic 5th day, albeit not with all 4 results possible, because I don't think South Africa has any way they can win this. And yes, there are 4 different kinds of results, if you're wondering what I'm talking about. Jared Kimber, however, we've got a couple of minutes before the players make their way onto the field, and you've got a little piece of sporting history that doesn't involve cricket. It involves a sport that I know very little about, but it's actually a very interesting general sporting statistic.
Yeah, it's NBA has their first ever player to play over 4 decades in their career. So Vince Carter, who is a very exciting player, who was a highlight reel for a long time. Now he's a bit of a role player as he moves on into his 40s. He played in the 90s, 2000s, 2010, and of course he went onto the court a couple of days ago, going into going into this decade. So it's an incredible achievement, and not that many players in sport get to do it. But of course, our own Gareth Batty, if he plays another first-class game, will get to play in 4 different decades. That's how old, and if you think about it, Bats, you've now lived into your 6th different decade. What an achievement.
That is astonishing if you think about it. You will have played first-class cricket in 4 different decades. And you have a look of a man that has never thought of that before.
I didn't have a clue what we were about to do here, and obviously I didn't have I'd never even crossed my mind. I'm as shocked as everybody else listening that we're talking about this.
Was it weird starting your career before TV cameras were at the grounds? And, having the TV camera
fine line, isn't it, as well?
It was black and white,
what he says, what he doesn't say, because they'll all be aware that they're on top, but they haven't put the ball in the back of the net. You've got to be careful about not stopping what they're doing, but know and trust your team that they can see it out in the same way.
I think almost it's a double-edged message. If I was in his situation now, I would give him a little compliment, but just before they're about to go out that door, sharpen the focus and say, we've got to come out the traps better than we did in the first half, because we'll get beat if we don't.
Yeah. I mean, there was the one opportunity for Luis, wasn't there, inside the box. He wasn't picked up. The runner didn't go with him.
Well, from a set play, obviously it was a blocked run scenario, but for me the most telling thing that where Leeds might concede is just getting caught. A couple of times they've been caught, haven't they, playing out from the back. Once was given a free kick, the second time wasn't. Just be mindful of that. That would be my message.
But having said that, second half they got their fans behind them. They know that. There was no surprise from the Leeds United fans. They know exactly where they are, and you know, they and West Brom so far ahead, although as Jim was telling us they've lost a few games this season, but they've been on a good run again now. They look as good as I've seen in the Championship for some that they remind me in a slightly different way of the Wolverhampton Wanderers side that came up.
Yeah, I totally agree, and when you look at the likes of Wolves coming up and the impact they had, Sheffield United have come up with no respect for anyone really. They play their own game and get on the front foot, built very strongly. And what I've seen from Leeds, they will come and do exactly the same next season if they get promoted.
And yet their recent form in the league, just either side of Christmas, has been patchy. They've only won one of the last 5 games. They only won that with an own goal in the 5th minute of stoppage time away at Birmingham. But so they've obviously got an erratic nature to them. But if tonight they've been mustard.
Does this make sense then? Playing against a Premier League side like Arsenal, they're going to be much more comfortable in the way that they can play than against another Championship side that perhaps is doing the same thing as they are.
Yeah, I think you could be right. As I say, in the Championship, chances are if Leeds are pressing like that, they don't bother playing out from the back. They just go route one, you know, and we'll have a fight ball somewhere near the halfway line. Arsenal were not pressing particularly well. In fact, they're adding to the confidence of Leeds United.
Individuals. There isn't a team. They're not working together.
It's not a collective. You're right.
Well, they've got to do that in the second half, haven't they? And certainly looking forward to that here on TalkSport. You'll have your chance to have your say whichever way this game goes today. The Leeds United players are on their way out now. And 08717 223344. The sports bar will be open with all your reaction, and we'll also give you all the reaction from the tunnel here after the game. 45 minutes to come. And as I mentioned, you know, there's the whole. You can look at the whole of Leeds United. They're drilled here, aren't they? They've all come out early. The outfield players, they're doing a little bit of a routine that they do. You know, Arsenal have trotted out in 1s and 2s here, and you know, they're not all still coming out. They're having a bit of a chat here and a chat there and what have you. And Leeds United themselves show what they can do. Well, first goal is now even more vital, I think, for either side. If Arsenal get it, it might rejuvenate them. I think if Leeds get it, well, I don't know what Arsenal will have left.
Yeah, I think this game will probably end up 1-0, and I'm not sure which way it'll go. If you know, I've been involved in football too long to realise that what I've seen in the first half from Leeds will guarantee them a 1-0 victory. I think it could swing either way, but if Leeds play the way they did and press the way they did, I can only see one winner at the moment.
Here's Jim Proudfoot.
Well, no changes in personnel ahead of the second half. Arsenal will kick from right to left in this second period. And they got Martinez in goals, Socrates holding David Luiz and Kolasinac, the back four, Guendouzi and Xhaka in midfield, Pepe, Ozil and Nelson with Lacazette up front. I'll give you the Leeds team in a moment as Ayling heads away. Brought back down at the edge of the penalty area. A long left-footed shot from distance from Pepe has spiralled wide, much closer to the corner flag than the goal. And it's out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken away to the left-hand side by the Leeds keeper Meslier. Ayling, White, Berardi and Douglas the back four. Calvin Phillips sits in front of them. And Harrison, Click, Gotts, Alioski and Bamford up front.
Now here's the change now. Arsenal have squeezed on. They've near enough gone man for man on this Leeds goal kick. And they've almost said to themselves, listen, if we sit off and let them play through, we've got absolutely no chance. We'll never get a foothold in the game. And I think that is the change that Arteta's looking for from his front four.
Here's Holding, and he's turned it back to his goalkeeper. Martinez will just play it out towards the left-hand side for David Luiz, who can work it forward. Lacazette flicking it on, and Nelson might be able to go up through the gears. And Nelson in towards the edge of the penalty area. He's got round White, and then he goes to ground. He's back on his feet, but as he gets back to his feet, Phillips is in there to make a challenge, and it ricochets out of play for a goal kick.
Well, some incredible recovery defending there from Leeds, but
exactly what happened there. They've gone man for man all over. If one player gets dispossessed or gets turned, that's the problem that faces you. They've been brave in the first half doing it on that occasion, just got caught out.
Well, Leeds will be able to bring it away now from the edge of their own penalty area. And it's played out to the left-hand side for Douglas. A high left-footed ball forward from Douglas, which Bamford's going to chase, and Holding has to make sure that he stays with him, shoulder to shoulder, and he turns it off balance out of play in front of a Leeds United fan who waves a Greek flag. The ball goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken over on that far touchline by Alioski. No, he's going to leave it for Barry Douglas for Leeds. It's 0-0, live on TalkSport a couple of minutes into the second half. All Leeds in that first half. As Alioski plays it back towards the edge of the area, Gotts, who's probably the smallest man on the pitch, jumped high, tried to bring the ball down on his solar plexus, but Arsenal are there to bring it away. And it's played out towards the right-hand touchline for Xhaka. Finds Lacazette in the midfield. Now Ozil will take over, and Ozil will make his way towards the edge of the penalty area. Spins the ball in behind Nelson. It'll be chased by Kolasinac, who tried to buy a corner. Nelson chases after the loose ball, but it's cleared by Harrison, who gets it away towards the halfway line. Picked up by Guendouzi about 20 yards inside Leeds territory. Back out to the Arsenal left-hand side again for Kolasinac. Tried to turn, and he'll do everything he can to dispossess Harrison. Harrison's got back goal side, withstands the pressure of two Arsenal players, and Ayling can bring it away. And then as his clearance hits Nelson, it dribbles innocuously over the dead ball line and out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken away to our left-hand side. 3 gone second half. It's Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0, and alongside me, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, just another free kick another goal kick at the moment for Leeds, and Arsenal, you can tell, just pushed on here, near enough gone man for man, taken a leaf out of Leeds' book, and I think it's the best way of doing it, actually, to get a foothold in this game. And as I say, they've just won the throw-in from that.
Are you surprised that they didn't make that change early? It was one that, it's easy from here, and I can understand maybe Arteta's reluctance to try and change things midstream. Xhaka will bring the ball forward here for Arsenal, try and get himself into a shooting position. He's gone to ground on the edge of the D, left of centre, and wins a free kick.
Well, they've got going back to your first question, am I surprised? It's very difficult to change things early on in games, you know, especially if you're a young manager like Arteta. He's come into the game and he's new to management, and the whirl that goes on in your mind makes it very difficult. But they got a wonderful situation here in a free kick. I don't think it was a free kick. I think he's gone down to the ground cheaply, but they won't get a better opportunity than they've got at this moment.
Well, Meslier stands with his back on the right-hand post, the goalkeeper. He's asked for 5 in his wall. Referee Taylor's just put the spray down inside the penalty area to indicate where that wall has to stand. Arsenal have an attacking wall of 3 in front of that Leeds quintet. Lacazette is standing over it. Pepe's not too far away either. Of course, he scored a couple of superb free kicks in the game against Guimarães here. Oh, there's also potentially a blunderbuss from David Luiz. It's Lacazette, and that's hit the top of the bar. Well, he got the angle beautifully, but he just couldn't quite get the dip in time. Meslier was beaten. He went the right way, but it's just kissed the top of the bar on the way over, and the pace did for the young French keeper.
Yeah, if that's on target, I think it's all over a goal there. There was only one place that was going up and down over the wall, but it just couldn't get down quick enough.
Alex Lacazette started all 4 games now under Arteta, but only 6 goals for him all season at a rate of 1 every 3 matches. So Aubameyang, the leading scorer, had the night off tonight. He's got 15 in all competitions for the Gunners in this campaign. A wonderful goal-scoring record he's got for the club all told, 56 in 90. And Lacazette, on the other hand, 42 in 106. Leeds able to bring the ball forward, but not too far. Guendouzi, it's been a much better performance from Arsenal in this second half. In towards Ozil. Lacazette, good save, Meslier. Dive to his left-hand side, able to beat it away. But now the Arsenal chances are coming with increased regularity.
Yeah, Arsenal pressing on, looking more confident in their pressing game, winning the ball higher up the pitch, giving them better opportunities on goal. And it'll be interesting to see how Leeds cope with this, and whether it actually slows them up a touch and puts them on the back foot.
Now a test of the defensive wherewithal of Leeds United. Of course, they let in 4 away to Birmingham recently, albeit that they scored 5 at the other end. So not the best defensive record. They're able to bring the ball out now with Ayling, who's done well and gets around the first couple of challenges. Went to ground, referees let it go. Pepe brings it forward. He just has it taken out of his stride, but not out of his possession. He's laid it back for Guendouzi towards the edge of the area. Left-footed effort from him, and Meslier dives to his right, and he beats him and goes past the post. But Arsenal with as many attempts in the opening 7 minutes of the second half as they had in the entire first 45.
Well, I think they've both gone in the dressing room, Jim, and swapped kits, actually. I think Leeds are playing in red now.
Just can't get going, can they now?
No, and that's credit to Arsenal, to be fair. We were a bit critical of them in the first half, but they've got on the front foot, showing more energy about what they're trying to achieve.
And credit to Arteta. We talked about it being a significant half-time team talk. And in 15 minutes, he's been able to redress the balance.
Yeah, he certainly has. And it's been a fine-tuned tweak, really. It's, look, don't let them play out from the back. We'll squeeze on, we'll go man for man and give them a touch of their own medicine.
Arsenal have possession. And it's a throw on the far touchline. In terms of possession, incidentally, almost a mirror image. First half, 63% Leeds. Second half so far, 62% Arsenal, who've got it now with Nelson, and he's dragged it inside the area away from Ayling. He's then stumbled, almost able to maintain possession. He was down on his hands and knees, but flicked it with his right foot back towards a teammate, and eventually as Leeds bring it away, Click is fouled, and it's a free kick to Leeds midway inside their own half. 53 gone, Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. It's in the third round of the FA Cup, and it's live on TalkSport with the Fiat Professional range of vans. Get peace of mind with 5 years warranty, 5 years roadside assistance, and 5 years servicing. Terms and conditions apply. Search Fiat Pro 555.
I'm astounded how Xhaka's not been booked. It was him once again sliding in from the back.
Little back heel flick from Click to Bamford. Good save, Martinez. A relatively comfortable save in the end. Didn't quite get it close enough to the inside of the post, Bamford. And Martinez took a couple of hasty steps off his line to narrow the angle. That's good goalkeeping.
I'll tell you what, Alioski must be spitting blood over the far side. Bamford should have played it to him. Great opportunity to do so.
This time Arsenal will play around the Leeds press. Gotts gets back goal side to make Guendouzi's life difficult. And back it comes for the Frenchman again. And he's played it back for David Luiz, who stumbled and then just caught in a moment of indecision, but he was still able just to adjust his feet quickly enough and find the nearest teammate. Had he lost possession there, it was 2 Leeds players on the keeper. As it is, Arsenal will bring it forward. Pepe to Lacazette, right-hand side of the area, back towards Pepe, via a deflection, and it's put into the net by Nelson, bundled in from close range, and Arsenal have the lead at the end of the first 10 minutes of the second half, where they've been much the better team. They've redressed the balance, and they've done what Leeds couldn't do, and that's make domination count. Arsenal 1, Leeds United 0. Reece Nelson.
Yeah, Leeds just looking a little bit leggy at the moment with this man-to-man scenario. If you get skipped by your man, you've got a problem, and that's exactly what happened there. Douglas has gone in, he's gone to ground, and once Pepe's got turned, there's a big problem.
Well, he's only scored 1 goal for Arsenal before tonight, and that was in the third round of the League Cup against Nottingham Forest. He now scores in the third round of the FA Cup. A scrappy goal, but such an important one as far as Arsenal are concerned. Little deflection on the ball. It was initially played in, and then a scuff from Nelson that was good enough to take it past Meslier and beat the defender on the line. Ayling couldn't adjust quickly enough, going the wrong way, and Arsenal find themselves a goal to the good. Nelson's celebration, understandably jubilant, and Arsenal relieved. Over the balance of 55 minutes, they certainly don't deserve the lead, but on the balance of what we've seen in the second half, they have been the better side. They've turned things around, and it's 1-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've pressed brilliantly. I've got to say, in this second half, Arsenal more energy about their play, and Leeds look a little bit leggy and a little bit weary since half-time.
Kolasinac will take a throw for Arsenal. They lead by a goal to nil. Kolasinac throws it back towards Lacazette, who flicks it on again towards Reece Nelson, and he goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the right-hand side by Leeds United's Luke Ayling. So how do they get themselves back into this game? Their only defeat in the last 15 coming at Fulham a fortnight ago. What are the answers as far as Bielsa's concerned? He stands now in dialogue with his coaching staff, just picking the brains of Pablo Quiroga and Diego Reyes about how they shuffle things around and what personnel changes they need to make off the bench in order to try and influence proceedings. It looks as though Dallas is going to be brought on potentially. Kolasinac will take a throw down the left-hand touchline. Lacazette able to turn and spin and work it in towards the edge of the area. Ozil's ball back is chested down by Ayling, who can bring it away. Now Leeds will be able to get out and then chip it down the right-hand touchline with Click. Xhaka wins it back for Arsenal, lays it back for Rob Holding. Arsenal's record from one-up this season is not too bad, although they have lost twice when they've taken the lead, and they've lost possession here with Phillips making his way forward for Leeds. It's played back from him to Götze, who tries a speculative attempt from 25 yards, but he got the curl and elevation wrong, and he's just skied it over the bar. 1-0 to Arsenal with 13 minutes played in the second half on TalkSport.
I've just seen the difference in Arsenal's play from first half to second half. Ozil lost the ball on the edge of the opposition's box and sprinted back chasing his man. Never saw that at all in the first half. In fact, I've not seen it for quite a while in his game, but he certainly did it on that occasion.
Helder Costa's going to be coming on in a moment for Leeds United, but I don't think he's going to be the only one. Bielsa made the decision just to rotate, but now that they're trailing, he's going to call for the heavy artillery. And Helder Costa and Stuart Dallas are both going to come on to join the fray. Dallas has scored in 2 of the last 3 games, and Helder Costa is in the Wolves side that beat both Liverpool and Manchester United in the FA Cup last season. Will he yet be able to add Arsenal's name to his own personal list of honours? Arsenal winning it back here on the edge of the area with Guendouzi to Pepe. Pepe trying to get round Berardi. He's done well. He's sold him a beautiful dummy. Then as the ball was worked inside the area, appeals from all and sundry that it hit an arm, and I'm sure that the VAR Stuart Atwell will be looking at that as we speak, but play goes on for the moment. Leeds hook it away to safety. Bamford battling and wrestling with Holding, who was living up to his name there, and somehow referee Taylor's just gone, you boys just get on with it, I'm not going to blow.
He must have had a lot of paperwork over Christmas, because he don't want to book anyone at the moment. Xhaka could have been booked 5 times already. On that occasion, well, it was Greco-Turkish wrestling over the far side, totally ignored.
Obviously decided it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. So, a double change. And off comes Robbie Götze. Dallas will come on to replace him. And Helder Costa's going to come on as well. Just waiting to see what number is shown for him and who Helder Costa is going to replace. It's Alioski by the look of it. I think he's made his way off over on the far touchline. So Harrison will swap flanks here. Helder Costa will start on the right-hand side. Harrison's moved out to the left. Alioski off after an excellent first 45 minutes. And the other change, a straight swap in the midfield with Dallas coming on for Götze. Goal kick taken by Meslier. Arsenal win it back straight away. Here's Nelson. Right-footed effort, just trying to pass it into the bottom left-hand corner. And across comes White, and he's able to make the block and put it out of play for a corner.
Arsenal have turned the ball over in Leeds' half, I would have said off the top of my head, on 6 occasions, and forcing Leeds on the back foot. In the first half, the only time they turned the ball over was when it was a mistake from Leeds. And that is the difference. More energy, more press, more aggression.
Arsenal now have their first corner of the second half, their second of the game. We played just over an hour here on TalkSport. Arsenal leading 1-0 after Reece Nelson's goal 7 minutes ago. There's a real crowd scene inside the 6-yard box that referee Taylor is trying to keep an eye on. Plenty of pushing and shoving going on there. In comes the corner towards the near post. It just took a flick, I think, off Phillips' head. Leeds win the second ball as well and clear their lines. And then eventually Kolasinac inside the centre circle turns it all the way back for Martinez. Martinez just able to get it away as they pressed with real intensity. Harrison trying to read Martinez's clearance, couldn't quite. And then Dallas was in there strongly, but he couldn't get the ball in a decent position for Leeds, and it rolls out for a throw that will be taken by Sir Kolasinac for Arsenal. 1-0 to the Gunners.
Yeah, great press there on that occasion by Dallas. Louis very, very fortunate not to give that away in his own half.
Another free kick given. And it's a Leeds ball. Nelson just taps it back to where he thinks the infringement actually took place, which wasn't where Ayling was hoping to take the free kick from. Meslier has to make sure that he doesn't get caught with the ball at his feet inside his own penalty area. The young French goalkeeper has got it clear. And Arsenal winning so many more second balls now in this second half than they ever did in the first, with Guendouzi in here. And it'll be cleared through the midfield again. Another passage of play that ends up with players from both sides on the deck. And eventually a free kick is given Leeds United's way. But in the second half, bearing in mind the chances came with such regularity in the first period, Leeds yet to force anything of note at all. In the first period, they had 15 attempts. I don't think they've had a single-sided goal in the second half so far.
No, and a lot of that's down to Arsenal. They've got on the front foot, they played with good energy, and the stats all bear that out. The way they've pressed has been very good.
Completely different performance from Arsenal to their and Mikel Arteta's credit. Leeds United now looking for a response.
I think there's a booking amnesty in the FA Cup because Xhaka could have been booked on 6-7 occasions.
Yeah, he's had cards all the colours of the rainbow, hasn't he? You were refereeing. He's on the indigo at the moment. The ball is played on the left-hand side, chipped inside the box and knocked away by Holding. And Leeds win the seconds over on the far touchline with Douglas in an advanced position. They're trying to work an opening to get the ball across. Leeds haven't been able to get Helder Costa into the game at all since he came on 3 or 4 minutes ago. And on this occasion it's gone out of play for a throw to Arsenal, level with the edge of their own penalty area. The Gunners haven't lost at home in round 3 of the FA Cup since West Ham beat them at Highbury in a replay back in 1989. And they haven't lost at home to lower division opposition in the third round of the FA Cup since Bradford Park Avenue, then a second division side, and beat them at Highbury in 1948. And in the first half, it looked as though that run might well come to an end. And it could yet, of course, but Leeds are going to have to do it the hard way now after a much improved Arsenal got their noses in front. Sliding challenge in the midfield. One back by Kolasinac, just able to guide it away from Phillips. And then off-balance Xhaka did well as he did the splits, able to work the ball out towards Ozil, who rides a couple of challenges, laid back for Nelson. Nelson with tricky feet. Lacazette trying to turn inside the area. Was he hauled to the ground as he hooked his right foot around it and got it in towards goal? Referee says no. VAR may well be looking at that. Leeds have a player still down inside the penalty area. Play goes on with a long clearance from the back from Leeds, but it's brought down comfortably at the end by the Gunners, by Rob Holding, who will work it out towards the right-hand touchline again. 20 gone second half, and it's still Arsenal 1, Leeds 0. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I've got to give Arsenal plenty of praise at this
Meslier coming to the edge of his area, saves from Nelson.
I've got to give Arsenal plenty of praise. They're pressing very, very aggressively. Nearest man to the ball. Very similar to Leeds in the first half. And it's paying dividends. They're turning the ball over in Leeds' half and going straight at the back line of Leeds.
Xhaka ends up on the deck. And it was a firm challenge by Click. Xhaka writhing around in pain. And Click is going to be the first recipient of a yellow card tonight. It's his 6th caution of the season. And Granit Xhaka is back on his feet with surprising speed, bearing in mind his initial reaction after he was caught.
I've got to say, this is where the game's gone. It really is. Xhaka's made 6 or 7 challenges that potentially could be bookings, and on the back of that,
He cops one, and there's a booking.
Well, Arsenal are going to make their first change, and Ian Abrahams has got the details of it.
Yeah, and this kid's really good, Gabriel Martinelli. He's impressed in the League Cup, and also he's impressed very much in the Europa League. He's going to come on now for Reece Nelson. I've got to be honest with you, the other touchline here, Nelson's had to tell his staff behind him to sit down because Kevin Friends told him to calm down and sit down. He only had 2 members of staff on the touchline, and Bielsa had to tell his staff to just ease off a bit.
Martinelli has come on. He's scored 8 goals for Arsenal, 4 in the League Cup, including 2 at Anfield, 3 in the Europa League. But has only mustered 1 in his last 10 appearances, which came in the win at West Ham. Leeds will bring the ball away. Chip down the touchline, and David Luiz dealt with Bamford. No complaints from him as he gets back to his feet. It's a Leeds United throw, which Ayling will stride forward to take. Bielsa will learn a fair bit about his team here and about the character that they can display, how they respond to going a goal down. Need a ball to be able to get themselves back into the game first, and the 4th official, Kevin Friend, is again just having a word with Marcelo Bielsa, and the fact that there are so many of the Leeds technical staff who are on their feet, and Bielsa had a little word back, I think it's fair to say. Here's Calvin Phillips inside the centre circle. He's chipped it down towards the near touchline for Ayling. 1-0 to Arsenal. Bamford can't control the through ball. Dallas can't get to it, and will end up in the hands of Emi Martinez.
Yeah, the supply line to the Leeds strikers has dried up a little bit. They can't get comfortable possession through the midfield, and they're feeding off scraps at the moment.
In the game as a whole, in terms of shots on target, it's still 6-3 in Leeds' favour, but second half they've only had the 1. Guendouzi will get the ball away now, but the whistle had gone before he cleared, and it's going to be a free kick for a foul by Socrates, and it's about 10 yards outside the penalty area. Now, actually, by the time Calvin Phillips has spotted the ball down, it's much further away than that. Probably the best part of 20.
He's pulled it back for the first foul on Ozil. Ozil made the first foul, and for some reason he's pulled it back another 10 yards for that foul.
And the ball's flat as well, so they've just swapped them over. And now the new replacement match ball is punted onto the field. Click passes it to where the free kick's got to be taken from by Calvin Phillips. 1-0 to Arsenal. Leeds looking for a response here. Arsenal defending with a high line. They've got 7 in that line, which is stationed about 6 yards outside the penalty area. Ball swept in by Douglas, who's got a fantastic set-piece delivery, but the offside flag was up. Arsenal won the initial ball anyway. And it's a free kick to the Gunners on the edge of their own box, and they're just over 20 minutes away from a place in round 4 and a trip to Bournemouth.
Yeah, game is nicely balanced at the moment. Leeds have got to find a way of beating this more aggressive press from Arsenal, and Arsenal have got to make sure that they continue this second half performance with the energy that they've shown that was sadly lacking in the first half.
You're listening to Arsenal against Leeds in the third round of the FA Cup. It's live on TalkSport with the Fiat Professional range of vans. Get peace of mind with 5 years warranty, 5 years roadside assistance, and 5 years servicing. Terms and conditions apply. Search Fiat Pro 555. 1-0 to Arsenal. Bamford has possession, but not for long, because the flag's up against him again. If you haven't heard the draw, incidentally, the ties as follows: Watford or Tranmere against Wolves or Man United, Hull against Chelsea, Southampton against Middlesbrough or Spurs, QPR at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Winners of this go to Bournemouth, Northampton Derby, Brentford Leicester, Millwall Sheffield United. Give you the other 8 in a moment, as Arsenal bring it forward from the back but have lost possession, and more intensity about the Leeds press again there. They've done well to guide it back forward. Held across a lovely turn, and Kolasinac has cynically pulled him back. Free kick and a yellow card.
Yeah, I'm just amazed really that we've only had a couple of yellows in the game. It's been quite incredible. A lot of cynical fouls, a few late challenges as well, but a good opportunity here for Leeds to it's certainly in shooting distance, and Douglas has come over with his left foot.
Yeah, he's brought his right foot over as well, but I think it's his left foot that's going to strike it.
Yeah, the distance of 40 metres was too much for his left and right foot. So eventually they've joined forces, you're right, Jim.
So Douglas on his first start since August. An opportunity to try his luck from here. He's 9 yards outside the box, 8 yards outside the box, looking at where the wall has been stationed. There are 3 in that wall. Is Martinez happy with 3? No, he wants 4. Lacazette comes across and joins forces on the edge of the wall. Phillips and Douglas, the players, stand over it, but it's Douglas who strikes it. Not his best. Martinez had it covered, but it was a yard too high and 2 yards wide.
Yeah, shape of the free kick not bad, just too much height on it though, not enough dip, and goalkeeper was well on his way, I think, to cover that.
The other 8 FA Cup 4th round ties after the draw: Reading or Blackpool at home to Cardiff or Carlisle, West Ham at home to West Brom, Burnley, Norwich, Bristol Rovers or Coventry v Birmingham, Manchester City at home to Fulham, Rochdale or Newcastle at home to Oxford, Barnsley go to Portsmouth, and Liverpool go to Bristol City or Shrewsbury. That's the draw. Tomorrow, League Cup semi-final action, the Carabao Cup back on TalkSport, the Manchester derby at Old Trafford. And Sam Matterface talking through the action. Sags in the chair from 7, and then Wednesday Dean Ashton alongside Sam for Leicester against Aston Villa. And again, our coverage begins at 7 here on TalkSport as we bring you the Carabao Cup over the next 48 hours or so. Tonight, FA Cup action, the Emirates FA Cup, with Arsenal leading Leeds by a goal nil at the moment, with 72 on the clock here on TalkSport. Arsenal have possession inside Leeds territory. It's a through ball which Luke Ayling is able to just about bring under control and field and then get it forward. Flicked over the top then by Dallas. It'll be chased by Elder Costa. David Luiz there first, guides it back for Martinez, who just opens up his body and side foots it aerially out towards the touchline. Elder Costa flicks it back. Bamford, I think, thought he was offside. Play continues. Play on, says the referee, as it goes through to Emi Martinez in the Arsenal goal. Martinez hoping for what would be his 4th clean sheet of this season. He has played in 8 cup ties now. Clearance out towards the left-hand touchline from the aforementioned Argentinian goalkeeper, and it goes out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Arsenal left-hand side by Kolasinac. I think Arsenal's Leeds' last change, should I say, is going to be imminent, and it looks as though it is going to be Leith Davis who will be coming on. Lacazette making his way forward. Little reverse ball, Ozil off balance, flicked it back aerially with his heel, trying to get Lacazette back in. An extravagant attempt at a 1-2. Arsenal still have it as Leeds only got it half clear. In towards Martinelli. Martinelli, quick feet inside the area, bought himself a yard of space to get a shot in, which is deflected away for a corner.
Yeah, this game's been dominated by the team that have pressed the best, Jim. You know, it's as simple as that. Leeds were the masters of it in the first half. Second half, Arsenal have woken up and realised you've got to run around and do some of the dirty work before you get the opportunity to stake a claim in the game, and they've done that very well in the second half, I must say.
This corner will be taken by Mesut Ozil. Leeds not making the change yet, defending a corner. Arsenal getting everybody forward apart from the keeper and Kolasinac. Pepe waits on the edge of the area, everyone else inside the box. And Arsenal are going to make a change imminently as well, but the corner will be taken first. Referee Taylor's happy with the jockeying for position that's going on. Swept in by Ozil. It was a free header, little near post flick, which didn't find a red and white shirt behind them. It was Rob Holding who was the closest to it, and then Leeds are going to be able to bring it away for a sliding challenge. Wins them a throw.
Yeah, a little bit of niggle creeping in the game. Just watched the replay there around the halfway line. Lacazette just lashing out into one of the midfield players of Leeds. Didn't quite catch who it was, but there's a little bit of niggle creeping in the game now.
Willock is the Arsenal player who's going to be coming on shortly. Martinelli has it towards the edge of the area. Oh, brilliant quick feed again, and he gets a shot in. Meslier tips it to his left hand side, and then back on his feet so quickly he's able to make a double save, gather the loose ball and try and get Leeds going. But Martinelli so sharp in that kind of position, a real predator's instinct. Couldn't get the ball either side of the keeper. Leeds play out from the back and now can bring it forward. Bamford in the middle. Elder Costa at the far post. Harrison trying to make ground inside the penalty area and get a cross in. The initial one blocked by Socrates. Comes back to him, but Arsenal do very well in the end to be able to bring it away. And I think it's Pepe back defending who in the end was just able to knock it off Harrison and out of play for a goal kick which will be taken away to our right hand side by Martinez. Arsenal 14 minutes away from the fourth round of the Cup.
Yeah, they certainly are. They seem to be bossing the game at the moment, Arsenal. Certainly there's a stark contrast between first and second half. I don't know whether there's a slight problem with Ayling at the moment. He's just been over at the bench, stretching the hamstring off slightly.
Well, they're going to have to make up their mind what to do with him because they've only got one change left and they're about to make it. Arsenal, though, Ian Abrahams are going to make another one now.
Yeah, Mesut Ozil, who's not exactly set the tie on fire, I think it's fair to say, being replaced by Joe Willock. You're right about Luke Ayling. I mean, Leif Davis's 19 last week is about to come on, but it could have been for either centre-half or it could be for Luke Ayling. And by the way, the Leeds technical area, there was 6 members of staff in that technical area a minute or two ago, as more people had turned up at my 50th birthday party.
I'm just surprised he got 6 there, personally, you know.
Ball is cleared. I'm saying nothing. Ayling heads it forward. Bamford's done well. Initial touch just gave David Luiz something to think about. Guendouzi then is wrestled to the ground by Dallas. It's an easy decision for referee Taylor to make. Bamford is now down, just rubbing his ankle, not too far outside the Arsenal penalty area. So still they're not sure what they're going to do. Leif Davis was going to be the man coming on, but Jordan Stevens is instead going to be the player who will be introduced. Stevens, I think, will come on in midfield, or will he just come on at right back? I just wonder whether they were going to try and shuffle things around and potentially put Dallas in at right back, as Ayling is going to come off, and the instruction is being made to Dallas. They're just saying to Dallas, yeah, you're going to right back. Stevens will come on in midfield. Big night then for Jordan Stevens. He's only made a couple of Leeds appearances up to now. He was in the Forest Green Rovers team as a 16-year-old before his move to Elland Road. Here's Martinelli for Arsenal inside the penalty area. Ball clipped in and headed away easily. And brought down by Elder Costa, who's flicked it into the nearest Arsenal player, Kolasinac, and out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Leeds United right. 11 to go. Arsenal 1, Leeds 0.
Yeah, normally a real poor start for Stevens. His first touch, he put Arsenal on the attack. Managed to get back and recover the situation.
He has it now. It's a better touch from him. Finds Elder Costa. And Elder Costa turning. Claims that he was fouled. Kolasinac brings it forward, playing to the whistle. Neat little 1-2. The angle is tight. And a good sliding challenge from Berardi. Stops the cross-come shot being an effective one, but it's another Arsenal corner.
Yeah, Arsenal are stretching Leeds now. Every opportunity they get, their pressing's that much better. And when they are getting at the heart of their defence, they're opening them up with 1 or 2 good efforts. And I think another goal would certainly finish this game at this stage. I think Leeds are looking a bit of a spent force.
1-0 Arsenal lead. Can they get back-to-back wins to start 2020? Book the 4th round tie at Bournemouth. Pepe with the corner towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The Socrates met it, and dancing up and down with fury at his lack of accuracy in the shot as it came off the top of his boot and flew way over the bar from about 8-9 yards out. Goal kick which is taken quickly again by Meslier. Leeds in a hurry to try and get on with things, as you would imagine, with time very much against them now. 10 to go. And the Yorkshiremen trail by a goal to 0 after a brilliant first half display that they haven't been able to replicate in the second half, but so much of that down to the Gunners' improvement since half time. Reece Nelson, the man who's scored the only goal so far tonight. Phillips lays it back to his goalkeeper, and it's played out by Meslier again in all black. The Frenchman has just knocked it out towards the left-hand touch line. Brought back under control in the left-back position by Berardi. He's gone back for Meslier again. Meslier didn't get quite enough elevation that time on his ball forward. It's brought down by Dallas, but he's lost out. Martinelli and Kolasinac making life difficult, and it's the Bosnian fullback who will make his way forward in possession. He's laid it back. Xhaka's got it now. Xhaka's got Guendouzi as the easy pass, but he's played an excellent ball to Holding. Just opens up for the Arsenal man, who can then play it forward, but not to good effect. And it's cut out easily by Stevens, who will be able to get Leeds going. And he's worked it down for Helder Costa, who's breathtakingly quick. And he'll run at this Arsenal back line. He's waiting for support to arrive. And Stevens clips it in. And it hits David Luiz and goes out of play for Leeds' first corner of the second half.
Yeah, good opportunity there. Got players forward. The energy seems to have drained out of Leeds slightly. It really has from the first half with that full energy, and they probably mirror their season last year where they lost a little bit of energy at the back end of the season. We've probably seen that, a microcosm of what's happened today in the game.
The only saving grace for them this time round, as we mentioned earlier, got a 9-point advantage at this stage of the season inside the top two rather than the 4 points that they had last year. They did end up 6 points adrift. But Bielsa might be, is he 64, still kicking every ball, feeling every moment of this game. Free kick taken by Barry Douglas, corner, I beg your pardon, taken by Douglas, headed away by David Luiz, brought down by the Leeds midfielder, finds Stevens. It's a clever through ball from him, and he gets the return ball as well. Just opens it up onto his right foot, lays it back for Clicks outside the penalty area still, and Arsenal have got nearly everybody goal side, but they haven't got possession back. Dallas sends a high ball in towards the far post. It's a left-footed volleyed ball back in, which was really poor from Helder Costa and led Arsenal off the hook, and they then end up getting a throw as they clear it into Douglas. But that was an excellent Leeds United move until Helder Costa's touch, which just went nowhere.
Yeah, it was, and that's what they've suffered from, I think, Leeds in this game. That little final pass, clever pass, through ball that might create a goal-scoring opportunity.
Gunners have it again with Willock, but Douglas has got it back. Berardi turning it through the midfield. Costa couldn't get there. It was Xhaka that could patrol that central area and win it back, and then he's gone to ground, just given a little shove from Costa, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Arsenal just inside Leeds territory. 7 to go, 1-0 Arsenal lead.
Well, I can't believe that we're in the 80-odd minute. I thought we were on about 60 minutes. This game has been intriguing, to say the least.
It's been a great cup tie. Now, will there be a twist in the tail? Martinelli trying to make life difficult for Dallas. Wins a throw as the Northern Ireland international gets it away. It's a throw that Kolasinac will take. 7 to go here on TalkSport in North London, where the rain has abated. Arsenal leading 1-0. Pepe's got it down by the corner flag. He's pulled it back for Kolasinac. Good strength from the Arsenal winger trying to roll his man. Kolasinac making life difficult, and it's all got a little bit niggly at close quarters. Eventually Willock being involved down there, tried to flick it off a Leeds player, and it has gone out for an Arsenal throw. Arsenal fan in the crowd in no hurry to give the ball back for Kolasinac, mindful of the situation. Throw now taken into the feet of Martinelli. Good turn from him, having his shirt pulled. Play again goes on, and he's wriggled away in possession, gets away from Dallas, pulled him to the ground, and that's a free kick, and that may well be a yellow card as well from Anthony Taylor. It is.
Yeah, it leaves me scratching my head there. Martinelli's in the corner flag, facing the corner, and Dallas is fronting him up, if you like. His teammates just got to come and help him a little bit. Go run round the player and drive in at the front of him.
The free kick, not too far away from the left-hand corner flag. Nicolas Pepe stands over it. Only one in a Leeds wall. A brick, if you will. 5 attacking inside the penalty area. It's flicked away. Cleared out towards Kolasinac, who lays it back down towards Pepe on the left-hand touchline. Mikel Arteta indicating to Pepe where he wants the ball to be played. Guendouzi then turned very neatly under pressure from Bamford and works it through to Xhaka, who will make his way forward, put under pressure from Stevens, who's won it back, but unfairly. And it's a free kick to Arsenal, 20 yards outside the Leeds penalty area.
Well, I don't know whether it's just Xhaka, but he's either the most fouled player or the most foul-in player, you know, but he seems to be at the heart of probably... There's been about 14, 15 challenges, one way or the other, that has resulted in a free kick that involved him.
Yeah, he's been involved in everything, as all good midfielders are. It's a free kick that Arsenal have actually taken surprisingly quickly. They've worked it out towards Socrates on the right-hand side, and he will be bustling over there and try and find his way through past Harrison, who's tracked back with him down by that corner flag. Socrates doing his best to try and hold up possession. Harrison tries to get it away. Nobody really attempting to play the ball, and eventually it goes out of play for an Arsenal throw. And a little skirmish afterwards as well, involving Phillips and Socrates, and Lacazette is in there, and there's plenty of finger pointing going on from Socrates, and a few Leeds players coming over to join the fray. Ben White involved. Socrates was sitting down, the ball was in the corner quadrant, and his legs were splayed either side of that corner quadrant, and he was trying to stop everybody playing it, understandably, bearing in mind the geography of the situation. Harrison, though, wasn't taking no for an answer, and he waded in, and Socrates ended up picking up his leg and throwing him over his shoulder.
Well, the best way to describe this, when I went to secondary school, the word bundle would be shouted across the playground, and you would see the biggest bundle ever. That's near enough what we had.
I'm just glad, bearing in mind the proximity of ball to Socrates, you didn't describe it in a nutshell. The ball's out for a throw. The referee's calmed everything down. Which is a good bit of old-fashioned playground fun, wasn't it, for 30 seconds?
It certainly was.
And we will restart with a throw, but we will only restart after the VAR has got involved. Now, the VAR decided that Socrates is guilty of serious foul play here. He was still sitting down, and did he raise his hand towards an opponent? It's hard really to see exactly what the VAR is looking at, what particular aspect of the incident, whether Socrates is the aggrieved player or the aggressor. Anthony Taylor, the referee, is just waiting further instruction from fourth official Stuart Atwell. And the big screens here at the Emirates say checking possible red card, violent conduct. Now, the fact that there isn't an immediate decision possibly doesn't bode well for the guilty party here. I wonder whether it was Douglas whose left hand went down towards the face of Socrates. I think Stuart Atwell rightly has decided no case to answer really, and we are back underway. That throw taken. Leeds will try and bring it away from the edge of their own penalty area with Douglas, but not an awful lot of time left as they try and seek an equalising goal and get a replay that they will feel their efforts over 90 minutes deserve. But Leeds, the better side in the first 45, couldn't find a way through. Arsenal, the better team after half-time, have been able to. And that's basically encapsulated the story of the game. It's a free kick now to Leeds. 90 seconds of normal time to go. There will be a fair bit of time to be added on in this second half. Bamford chests the ball down, but he's hardly had a sight of goal today. Hit the bar at 0-0 in the first half. And Arsenal can bring it forward again here with Lacazette. He's got Berardi with him. And Lacazette will control the ball and lay it back for Guendouzi. Back it goes again for Lacazette. He's got Pepe in support, but he's played it to Guendouzi instead, and the assistant referee on the far side flags, and it's a Leeds ball. Is it an offside? Is it a throw over on that far touchline? We're in the 90th minute, and Leeds with an opportunity to get it forward upfield. Arsenal got one change left at their disposal, and Saka is going to be coming on very shortly. He's made his last 3 starts at left back, Bukayo Saka. Or a player converted into that position from a more advanced role on the Arsenal left, and he'll be coming on in a moment. Leeds have got it in possession in the centre of midfield, but they haven't got it for long. I think a lot of Leeds players stopped thinking that the whistle was going to blow and give them a free kick, but Arsenal played to the whistle and able to bring it away. They've lost it though, and Leeds scoop it wide out towards the left-hand side. It looked very close call for offside against Harrison. Socrates in the end comes back, effects the block, plays it into Harrison, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. I think had he scored, VAR would have looked at that, and it was a very close call. Seen the replay, might have done the assistant referee a disservice. It was so tight, he may well have been onside. But we're in stoppage time, and there are 5 minutes to go. And that's what separates Arsenal from a trip to Bournemouth. 5 minutes for Leeds to score to get a replay at Annan Road in 9 days' time.
Well, that break was that quick, the linesman couldn't get anywhere near up with play. I certainly think it would have been ruled out.
Pepe coming off. What have you made of his performance tonight?
I think he was totally marked out the game in the first half, personally, and I think he's been okay in the second. But then again, I'd probably use that terminology for all the Arsenal players. Totally out the game and outplayed in the first half, second half, on the front foot, more energy, better end product.
So Saka's come on and he'll play on the right-hand side of the forward three. Martinelli on the left, Lacazette through the middle. Saka's got a couple of goals for Arsenal this season. Martinelli, who scored 8, will make his way forward now to the corner of the penalty area. Flicked the ball back. Lacazette couldn't quite open up his body to get into a shooting position. He steered it back towards Guendouzi. It's a lovely turn from him as it looked as though he's going to lose out to Click, and then as he bundled over, he is just outside of the area, and he was cute there, Matteo Guendouzi, to win a free kick in a promising position.
Well, the word cute and the word potentially diving. Oh my goodness me, we just watched the replay. It's pathetic, to be fair, really is. Now, stuff like that should be picked up by VAR, and he should be booked for diving, and this might end up in the back of Leeds' net, and they don't deserve to be beaten 2-0 tonight.
Well, I'm an advocate of VAR. I know that an increasing amount of people aren't, but I agree with you that they shouldn't now have a free kick. If they score from this, he should be disallowed, because that was clearly a dive by Guendouzi. Anyway, it won't be. Then the VAR won't look at it. That's not the way that it does work. But I do think that is an inconsistency with it. David Luiz may well be the favourite from here. It'll be certainly brute force from the Brazilian. If it is he that has a go, it could be a more measured, clipped effort from Lacazette instead. It is David Luiz, and he just whacked it straight over the bar and out of play.
I think Luiz probably had a modicum of fair play about him, realised it wasn't a free kick, and decided to chip it over the goal and give it back to Leeds.
We're 2.5 minutes into stoppage time, another 2.5 to go. Arsenal still lead 1-0, as they have for the last 35 minutes. Reece Nelson, the man whose goal is the most significant moment of the night. Leeds will play out from the back. Meslier, forward towards Dallas, back to the goalkeeper. Switches the direction of play this time, working it out towards the left-hand side, but it goes over Harrison's head and out of play for a throw. And just to reiterate the point that you've made a couple of occasions, it just feels as though Leeds have burnt themselves out a little bit here, really.
Well, they played that well in the first half, and you've got to give Arsenal credit. Arsenal are a league above them, and they decided to run around a little bit more in the second half, Arsenal, and press better and generally make things a little bit more uncomfortable for Leeds, and that's led to the change of the game.
A foul throw has given Leeds possession back. 15 inside their own half. Time very much against them. Only 90 seconds of stoppage time to go. The ball laid back for Meslier. And Meslier to Ben White, almost caught in possession inside his own penalty area. And Martinelli is putting him under significant pressure. Leeds do get a throw, though, about 20 yards inside their own half. Can they launch one last attack on the Arsenal goal? Helder Costa in the centre of midfield, loses out to Guendouzi, who is furious at the free kick going against him. I would suggest that after the one he won 2 or 3 minutes ago, he might feel that is rough justice. The ball goes out to the left-hand side. Leeds will bring it forward again. Now or never for Bielsa's men. Worked forward down the left-hand touchline. Good movement off the ball from Harrison. Harrison trying to get it across. It's just toe poked it out of play for a goal kick, and that, I'm sure, will be that.
They just can't get anything to go in their direction. Little bobbles there. They've had a couple. They've foraged down the left-hand side on 2 occasions now, and ricochets have put the ball behind for goal kicks instead of corners. And they can't sustain any form of pressure, Leeds themselves.
Well, 10 years ago this week, Leeds won at Manchester United. Their only away win in 9 ties against Premier League opposition since their relegation. And that run about to be extended to 10. Martinez gets it forward. And this will be the last phase of play as the ball is headed back down Bamford. It's come off Kolasinac and out of play for what has actually been given as an Arsenal throw. David Luiz just telling one of the Arsenal fans in the crowd, don't hurry, don't return the ball too quickly at this stage of the game. The 5 minutes of stoppage time have now elapsed. The ball is in Leeds territory. Kolasinac takes the throw down the line. Martinelli helps it on towards the corner flag. Lacazette might be able to get on the end of a slightly underhit pass from White. It's cleared out towards Stevens on the Leeds right, and Phillips will bring it under control for Leeds. And they then win a free kick. And we're still playing, despite the fact that the 5 minutes are long since up. Almost 6 minutes played now. Phillips to try and get it forward as quickly as he can. Instruction from the Leeds bench, just get it forward, get everyone forward. In the end, it's academic, and Arsenal are through to the fourth round. But after an almighty scare of the first 45 minutes, in which Leeds United have 15 attempts to Arsenal's 3, and they did everything but find the breakthrough. Second half, Arteta's men got it sorted out. Credit to the rookie manager for a half-time team talk that addressed the problems, solved the issues. Leeds burnt themselves out, unable to replicate their first half performance, and in the second period, after Reece Nelson's goal, Arsenal ended up going through pretty comfortably. Leeds, though, a credit to themselves, surely will win promotion if they can play consistently like that between now and May, and will be a real addition to the Premier League next season. But it's Arsenal who are through to round 4. They go to Bournemouth after beating Leeds by a goal to nil.
Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce with the terrific commentary again tonight. You feel a bit for Leeds, but Arsenal, as Jim was saying, in the second 45 got the goal and did what they had to do as well. Leeds United will feel a little hard done by at times. There's all sorts of bits and pieces to talk about in this one. Arteta's got to look at his Arsenal side and said, yeah, they did what I told them to do in the second half, but they've got to be a little bit better than that, Arsenal, for me. I mean, this Leeds side ran out of steam and they couldn't cope with Arsenal in the second half. But Ozil again today was very disappointing, and for me, a lot of those Arsenal players, they got away with it. I just want to start with VAR. I think Anthony Taylor had one of the worst games I've ever seen of a referee recently, because I think he's like the rest of them, he's stopped refereeing at the crucial times, and he's waiting to see what Stuart Atwell and VAR are going to do. I thought it was total nonsense in most of those. I thought that Arsenal in the end deserved to win because they scored the only goal of the game, but this Leeds United side, it was a 45 minutes of incredible football, Stuart, and you weren't with Jim and me yesterday, but I've just watched 2 games in the last 2 days where one side has created everything and hasn't got anywhere near and should have done. Everton yesterday, in the second half, they've sort of just not turned up, and it was the same again today.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, credit to Leeds in the first half. I thought it was a sumptuous performance by them tactically as well as manfully. Second half, if you're Arsenal now, what you do, you turn round, you get your players in tomorrow, you sit them down in front of your Sags and say, right, what was the difference yesterday? And then you show them all the turnovers of possession in the second half as opposed to the first half, and say, that is the bar that we've got to attain week in, week out. And Arsenal are not known as a pressing side, and he's got to change the culture of that to have that second half performance all the time. But well done Leeds, I would say.
Yeah, well done Leeds, and well done Arsenal as well, because they've won the game. But I don't see how you can trust an Arsenal side like that, the way they played in the first half, to week in, week out get themselves out of a scrape, because against really good finishers in the Premier League, they're gone.
Well, it is going to be a learning curve, and I totally agree, Sags, that in the majority of league games they play, if they played as they did in the first 45 minutes, if they played Leeds another 10 times in the way that they played the first 45 minutes, they'd be behind at half-time in 8 of them. There's no doubt about that. They got away with it tonight. They won't get away with it on a regular basis. But part of the learning curve under Arteta will be, look, this is where you went wrong over 45 minutes. This is how you put it right. Don't start so slowly, and play from the first whistle against Palace at the weekend in the same way that you played from the first whistle of the second half tonight. And so he's now got the perfect DVD to be able to show the players and hammer that message home.
08717 2233 4. Be interesting to hear from you, Leeds fans, on your way home tonight, or if you've been listening to us or watching it this evening, and Arsenal fans as well, what you thought about that in the end. 08717 2233 4. The sports bar with Andy and Jay Soper for Business. very shortly. They absolutely put everything into that first 45 Leeds. They didn't have anything from the moment they came out in the second half once Arsenal changed their tactics.
Well, we see it time and time again, Sags, don't we? That half-time whistle, if you've got your tails up, it crushes you 15 minutes sat down. Leeds, I thought, it was a tactical masterstroke in the first half, coming away to Premier League opposition, getting on the front foot, going man for man. Very brave thing to do. When they got a bit leggy in the second half, that man for man scenario become a little bit flaky in some ways. But Arsenal was so much better, pressing on, squeezing on, almost give Leeds a touch of their own medicine.
They absolutely did as well. We've got to take a check on everything now, and we've got to sort out the man of the match and exactly what we've got to do with that. So you guys just have a little bit of a think about what you want as your man of the match, and who you think deserves to have won it, and we'll come back. I just want to ask you one further thing actually before we get to that, Stuart. What do you do if you're Bielsa now and his technical team like that? How do you approach a game like that now, having been knocked out of the cup and going back to the league?
Well, I mean, firstly, you've got to decode this game and say, look, we need to be a little bit clinical. We've given ourselves a wonderful opportunity to win the game in the first half and failed to find a killer pass or a killer finish when we really should have done. If they had got their noses in front, Leeds, I think they'd have won this tie. I really do. That's the thing that he's got to work on, and then sustaining that tempo of press for 90 minutes if he can.
Well, it is time now to pick our man of the match in association with the Fiat Professional range of vans, where we pick a player who's gone the extra mile for his team today. So,
Man of the match on Talk Sport with the Fiat Professional range of vans. A true professional always goes the extra mile. Search Fiat Pro 555.
Well, a bit of a struggle this one.
Well, I know invariably you would pick a player who was on the winning side. I'm going to go against the grain, and my man of the match will be Calvin Phillips. He clearly is a Premier League player in waiting. I'm sure with Leeds United, which is what he wants to do. He signed a new deal with the hope that this year they would go up and he would stay with his hometown club in the Premier League for next season. But he just exudes quality. He does the simple things right, and he doesn't really catch the eye, but his positioning in front of that back four and the link play between that back four and the four ahead of him is absolutely integral. He patrols everything well. He's been able to sort his disciplinary record out in recent times as well. I thought he was excellent tonight, and he would be, I believe, an addition to the Arsenal midfield. I think that he is a fine player.
Well done, Jim. So we're going to let Jim have a go at that tonight, are we then?
Without a doubt, I'm in total agreement with him. For me, Leeds' performance in the first half alone was
run. So what happened is that India took, because India were pushing for victory, would have been a very, very famous victory for them. So it was them actually that pulled out of the victory chase first when Zahir Khan started to bowl bouncers to Dale Steyn. And he felt that he just undue risk trying to hook head-high bouncers. There are only 2 overs left. Anderson in it! Gone! Taken behind by Josh Butler in the penultimate over of the day. Finally, England's hard work pays off. They've got the second wicket, which transforms the whole feel of this 4th innings. And who else but James Anderson gets rid of Zubair Hamza for 18. What hard work it's been for England. 54.2 overs before they claim their second wicket. South Africa are 123 for 2.
He would be, I believe, an addition to the Arsenal midfield. I think that he is a fine player.
Well done, Jim. So we're going to let Jim have a go at that tonight, are we then?
pitch, they've near enough gone man for man, and they've been almost instructed, go man for man. Once you've done your job, go and help your mate do his job as well, and that's been Leeds' ethos in these early minutes.
Tomorrow night, Manchester United, Manchester City. Wednesday night, it's Leicester against Villa. Sam Matterface talking through the action on both occasions with Sags on air from 7. Arsenal on the front foot here. Nelson getting towards the byline, just lost possession. It was well defended by Berardi. And Harrison to come back and cover in front of the right back has very neatly played the ball through the either pretty thin needle to find Ayling, who then works it back for White, whose long clearance only finds Guendouzi. Phillips brings it down. Little turn by Gotts, who's exuded confidence for one so young on his Leeds United debut, but he's lost out this time. Pepe will try and drive forward. Can't find the way past two Leeds players. It was easily brought away by Harrison, who just stood firm, chips it into space, and there's plenty of it for Click. High ball from him, bypasses Alioski, but is brought under control by Barry Douglas. Work down the line, behind Socrates. Alioski gets it inside the area, and a left-footed off-balance volley from Harrison. Acrobatic, but not particularly emphatic, and Martinez can make a comfortable save. 0-0.
Super play by Leeds once again. Down the right-hand side, switch of play. Douglas surging on and setting up yet another shooting opportunity. The only downside you can say for Leeds' performance, they've not hit the back of the net yet, and sometimes that is very worrying when you've had this much dominance in a game.
Xhaka, again put under pressure by Leeds press. Whenever they play the ball into him, particularly if he's got his back to the direction of play, Click is in there immediately, trying to hound an error out of him. Calvin Phillips has got it for Leeds. The Leeds-born midfielder, veteran already of nearly 170 games for the club. It means so much to him on a personal basis as well as a professional one if he could help them get promoted this season. Alioski laying it back for Douglas. 11 attempts to 1 in Leeds' favour inside the opening 28 minutes. Only 3 of those 11 on target, but there have been a couple of near misses, most notably Bamford's effort that hit the crossbar. White out to Ayling.
Tells you the whole story, doesn't it, really? I mean, the stats do literally, sometimes they don't tell you the whole story. Those stats tell you exactly what we're seeing in front of our eyes. A very, very dominant Leeds performance, tactically absolutely sound, man for man, spring the press, and from there counter-attack the opposition. Fantastic.
You're with TalkSport, it's 0-0, but it's hugely entertaining and very intriguing. Douglas laying the ball through the midfield for Gotts, who sat on the Leeds United bench 30 times without ever being called on for his debut, but he's seized the opportunity tonight so far with both hands. Very efficient job in the engine room for the...
Look, however, the ball's just gone out for a throw-in and everyone's latched onto somebody. If you look on the pitch now in training exercises, sometimes if you want a physical encounter in training,